For people who don't like the opening areas of the game, the third one might come in clutch. But
We welcome our Feburary future.
Hello all of you little demons, Jules here alongside Josh, and we are going to be talking about a game that is hot off the presses and burning rubber straight into our hearts. It is Pacific Drive. Now this is the thing, Josh has had access to the full game and I have played the lengthy demo that I got early doors, and we both really enjoyed our time with this title, but maybe for different reasons. So we're here to answer a question for you today. Pacific Drive, is it the right game for you? Josh, take it away and tell us what your thoughts are on Pacific Drive, baby.
my initial thoughts are that it is the perfect game for me. And I think that really biases me, frankly, because a couple of years ago, before Pacific Drive existed, if you'd asked me to lay out my ideal game, it would sound a lot like Pacific Drive. It would sound an awful lot like Pacific Drive. And now I have it.
Yeah.
And I can play it as much as I mean, if the game's about 30 hours long,
Right.
I've put in about 50 hours into the game.
Whoa.
It's perfect at letting you have a small little play session where you just do a few little things, or a really long play session where you do a whole road trip. But at the same time, the gameplay loop is you drive down the road, stop, pick up garbage, throw it in the back of your car,
Right.
drive down the road some more,
Yeah.
go back to your garage,
Car
take
hole.
the garbage to your car
Right.
to try and make it last longer, and then do it again. And that's the gameplay loop.
Now, it's funny because it's very much going to fall into, and I'm not saying that these two games are in any way similar up until this description. It's kind of how people describe Death Stranding to me, in a way that it was like, right, okay, so what you do in Death Stranding is very little at all. You basically just walk for ages, pick up crap and bring it back, and then pick up more crap. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't sound fun. And then half of the people from that conversation went, it's not, and the other half went, but it is. And I feel that Pacific Drive may have that sort of dividing quality as well, because when I was playing the demo, I found the atmosphere of this game to be the biggest selling point. It is uncanny, it is beautiful, it is eerie, it is basically everything that you want from a Twin Peaks inspired game while looking at many more than just two peaks. But I will say that the amount of micromanagement that came in may be something that will put people off as it will draw people in, because, you know, the amount of components that you had to collect to start breaking down things to make batteries, make new windscreens, make all of this, it's like, I can see the wheels in motion, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be enough to keep everyone hooked if you don't like consistent item management.
As you said, there's lots of micromanaging. Your car is comprised of a huge number of parts, like over 10 parts of your car, maybe 15. It is a lot, and you have to upgrade all of those separately, and you have to upgrade yourself as well so you can last longer in the zone. I think your comparison to Death Stranding was a good one, because that has a lot of the same things where you have to figure out what your route is through the desolate landscape. But I think a game that came to mind even more was Dredge, last year's Dredge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's very similar to, if you liked Dredge, you're gonna love this, unless the part you liked about Dredge was the fishing minigame. I'm afraid there's no fishing minigame here.
I mean, if you picked up Dredge and didn't expect there to be some sort of fishing minigame or fish adjacent content, then maybe you weren't looking at the right game when you purchased it. I mean, that actually leads into a good point, which is you've got to look at Pacific Drive as a game of two halves, really, because the marketing for Pacific Drive is arguably very different to the experience that you get playing it. I would say that it definitely feels like it's aimed at, in the marketing at least, much more action-driven horror, as it were, but I do feel like there is a lot of downtime in Pacific Drive that is actually, again, its key selling point, because you know, going through those sort of open fields where the road just opens up and you can look around and just see endless woodlands in front of you, this beautiful vista, you just stop and take stock of it all, and it's only then does the sort of creeping fear get to you of like, oh yeah, there is actually danger in the woods, there is actually this force that is enclosing in around me, this anomaly that I need to solve. But you forget that occasionally, and you just go, this is just beautiful, it's just really nice.
It's exactly that. A lot of my favorite games have this. I don't want to keep talking about gameplay loops, but it is a gameplay loop where you're chill most of the time. Games like Dredge is a great example.
Yeah.
And Elite Dangerous is another one that I really love. I've put way too many hours into that game. But these are games where you are having a chill, great time just taking in the environment and the soundscapes and everything 90% of the time. And then that other 10% of the time, you are more stressed than you've ever been before. Because there are creatures in this game, strange, semi-technological, mechanical creatures.
There are so many things in Pacific Drive, like you say, that are out to kill you. It's just, you can go long stretches without actually seeing anything. The only danger is yourself and accidentally forgetting to put the handbrake on your car and then running yourself over as you run down a hill. Not that that's happened.
Huge amounts of the game are just tinkering with your car, driving down the road, looking in a little house, or look, a little scrap of metal.
Yeah. And
then that other 10%, you'll be getting giant saw blades cutting your car in half, exploding crash test dummies flying at you. And I love that, personally. I like that sort of serene feeling. And as you said, there is a creeping terror. You know that these things are out there. And obviously, I have to say, as the game goes on, there's a very steep ramp up of how frequently things are intense.
Okay, because sorry to interrupt, but I can only sort of base on what the demo had, which is like the more slow-paced introduction and then a quick ramp up towards the end to say like, oh yes, we do actually have a lot of horror in store. But you're saying that is much more prevalent in the latter half of the game, is it?
The game takes place over 3 areas, which are sort of, you have to make your way through these walls to get to each of the areas. The demo is in the first of those 3 areas, which is a very green, serene forest. The second area is split between a marsh and a scorching desert. And the third area is hell.
Oh, right, okay, fair
It's not actually hell, but it might as well be, because by the time you get to the third area, there is no downtime. You are constantly on. Your car needs to be made of diamonds because it is not making it. I was like, okay, I'm probably getting to the end of the game. I'm going into the final area. I'm going to put all sorts of wonderful paintings and murals and decorations all over my car, have all of my best pieces attached to my car. I went into that final area and I came out looking like a wet cat. It was not a good time for me.
But did you have a good time playing it?
Oh, I had a great time playing it. There's each area has unique enemies to them. Some of them are largely the same, and each enemy plays off each other very well. Everything about this game, you mentioned earlier that there's a lot going on in the game, and there are, but each of those individual things are very simple. As we said, there's a lot of pieces to the car that you need to deal with, but most of the time that's just, here is car part version 1, here is car part version 2, here is you don't have to like get a screwdriver and do it on the locks of the door. There is a slime that you smear on things.
I love the repair putty. It's amazing. It's so cool.
Smear this slime on things and it repairs it.
My favourite bit is that like, this isn't like a spoiler for those because it happens in the first 5 minutes of the demo. You basically like walk up and you grab this magic slime putty and it just basically goes, just coat your car with it, and you just go, okay, and it just magically starts fusing and fixing together. And at no point does your character just go like, that's a bit strange.
Like the Ethan Winters of cars.
Yeah, just gets back up stronger than ever.
The enemies, again, are very simple. There's crash test dummies that explode.
Yep.
There's UFOs that grab onto your car and pull them around. Very simple behaviors, very simple effects, very simple everything. But they can play off each other in really interesting ways. For instance, if the UFO grabs you and pulls you into the dummies, then that's a whole thing. But by the time you get to that third and final area, or even into the second area, there's so many different, not even the enemies, but environmental hazards, radiation, toxicity, fire, that everything is playing off everything else in a way that is overwhelming to deal with, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I feel like a lot of the people who will like the opening areas might not like those final areas, and a lot of people who would love those final action-packed areas won't like the opening areas as much.
I guess, though, the way to look at this game is kind of what it's summarizing with its premise of a car-based journey. It is about the journey. It is about getting from point A to point B, from growing along the way, appreciating when you can take your breaks, and then going back and regaling us with tales about how you nearly got set on fire by a random UFO made of scrap. It's an odd tale, for sure, but that is exactly what Pacific Drive is. A very odd, enthralling, entertaining, boring in some cases, but brilliant in many, many others game. And even though it may not be for everyone, for those people that will click with this, it will be something that will keep their motor running for a long old time indeed. And for those of you looking to get your hands on this, Pacific Drive releases on the 22nd of February, so not that long to wait at all, my friends. It's got plenty of gas and a lot of feet on the pedals, but let us know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. Are you thinking of picking up Pacific Drive? If so, and you've already played the demo, let us know what you thought about it down there as well. And you can be sure that we will do coverage of this game in further detail as and when juicy little tidbits arrive for us to talk about. It may definitely appear on the Deep Cut with me on every single Friday, and it may appear on Josh's little listicles that he does from time to time as well, and articles and videos and such. But if you want to follow us on the social medias, you can do so following myself over on Instagram at RetroJ, but the O is a 0, and you can follow Josh at
Grith, Gryith. I think I spelled that right.
You're damn right you did, fella. But that's been it from us today. Hope that you enjoyed that. Let us know what you thought about it. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the FGS YouTube channels and all of our social medias as well. Do us a favour. You're a nice lad. Do it. Cheers. Kiss on the head for you. Mwah.